I am so sorry. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
yes, I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I'm just driving around a carload of children.
Oh no. Oh goodness. Yeah, you're busy.
That's pretty metal, right? A carload of kids, four kids torturing me all day. I'm like, oh God, where's my wife? Please come home.
Anymore. That's how it is. Metal's changed a lot throughout the years. So I think a carload of kids pretty much fits the brand anymore.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thanks. Sorry for my tardiness again. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem at all. I understand that you're busy. Um, so does right now work okay for you? Are you
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in a parking lot waiting for a teenager at Joanne Fabrics. So metal.
Oh, is she right? I think your
Yeah.
teenager. Is she getting Halloween decorations?
No, she's building something for her friend's birthday. She just said, Dad, give me your credit card. I'm going to Joanne's. And I was like,
Oh,
oh, sweet.
oh, that's fun. That's cool.
Yeah.
Uh, well, the album's been out for a little over a month now. You have crossed over into the rock community. It sounds like you're being welcomed with open arms. How has that transition been for you?
It's been amazing. Um, I've never, in 17 years of swinging the bat and missing the ball in Nashville, no, I never got invited, accepted, like I have in the short time in rock music. And I think there's a reason why, and why my friends are Billy Gibbons and Dave Grohl and Kid Rock and now Jerry Cantrell. I think that all is like, huh, I should have read the indicators earlier.
Geez, Jerry Cantrell. I mean, Billy Gibbons obviously is huge, but Jerry's
Right.
near and dear to my heart. Um,
Yeah.
that's actually what, oh, my watch is trying to listen and talk to us. Um, that is where I had heard of you is your video doing Rooster with Jerry and Greg. Um,
Yeah.
so cool. So you obviously were on a tour with Jerry and with the heavy hitters from the 90s, Bush, Candlebox. Um,
Yep.
how did that how did that come to happen? And how was that performing with one of the greats?
That was an all-time high. But I haven't come down yet, so that's good because I'm like, oh, my post-tour crash is going to be aggressive this time. Because yeah, Jerry Allison Chains was kind of my last Mount Rushmore of rock star, or last Mount Rushmore rock star to work with. And
Wow.
I was touring with Seether and met his video guy Jonathan Carver, who works with Jerry and Alice and has for years. And I said, do you think there's a chance he's going to pull me up to sing? And he goes, no, he doesn't do that. I was like, okay, got it. So then, about 4 or 5 shows in, Jerry watches my sound check, and it's just him in like this empty amphitheater, like arms folded, sunglasses. And I'm like, oh my God. And my guitar player said in the talkback mic, he's like, I've never heard you sing that good in my life. I
Oh,
was
you were performing just for him.
just for Jerry, I was like, I'm not gonna sound check this one. I'm gonna arena send it. And I did. And I pulled my earpiece out and I was like, Jerry, what do you think? And he goes, you guys are badass, dude. And he walks away and then he turns around and comes back and he goes, I think you should sit in with my band. And I about fainted. I'm like, oh my God. And then it's so funny. I kind of start rambling. He's like, well, what song do you want to do? I'm like, oh, Rooster, blah, blah, blah. I just started like, he's like, okay, chill out. That's fine.
Which is a song that's so near and dear to his heart too. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so and he talked about me doing it that night, and it was one of those things like I know Rooster, but in my mind, was I mentally prepared to sing that next to my hero? Absolutely not. Like it was a mental thing. I probably would have pulled it off, no problem. But in my brain, I was like, I need to process this for a minute. This isn't just to run on stage and sing it with him. So then I tortured my band for 48 hours, and we listened to Rooster about 35 times. So
Yeah, that's so cool. And then for I believe I saw you do Far Behind with Candlebox as well, which is another
yeah. So the
iconic
last
song.
night, Jerry had me out to do Jerry had me out to do Rooster again, and then Kevin from Candlebox. This guy, one sec, please, very quietly enter. Sorry, the rest of them are here. The rest of the brood.
Hi. Oh my gosh, you guys
Hey,
are so
quiet.
good.
Yep. So yeah, so Jerry had me out to do Candlebox or to do Rooster, and then Candlebox. Kevin's like, hey, come out and do Far Behind, and then Kevin came out and crashed my set, and yeah, so that was pretty cool. I was
So
like, man, if
cool.
Gavin asked me to come out tonight, and even before the other bands are like, "Boy, you're a busy guy tonight." And I was like, "Oh God, if Gavin walks in my dressing room and says, 'Come sing, come down,' I'd do it." But I'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be here all night." Dead
That's the one
silent,
you
please,
would choose
kids.
for Bush is Come Down, huh?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he was having Jerry out to perform every night. So.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Well, cool. Well, that, from what I understand, that leg's done, and but you're going back out with Seether again,
Yep.
staying busy. So you're going to be playing with Hellstorm in my town, which
Oh, are you in Idaho?
I am in Idaho, and I was so confused because I thought you were probably touring with them. And then I kept seeing you touring with Seether, and I was like, okay, wait a minute. And so then I started looking at each place that you were going to be, and I was like, oh my gosh, just the one show.
Yeah, that was a one-off that randomly popped up, and so obviously we agreed to do it, and so we're gonna hop off. I think we had a day off with Seether, jump on that one, and then jump right back out there with Seether. So it's been a busy year. So
Yes, yes. How do you, one of the most important questions I think that I ask everybody, how do you keep balance, especially with having a family and having such a busy musical career at this point? How do you find balance either when you're on the road or when you're at home or both?
it's very challenging. I'll let you know if I someday figure it out. But
Fair enough.
I had my son turned 13, and I brought him out on the road. The first night of the tour was in Bend, Oregon. So it was my son's birthday, and I've missed a couple of them, and he's still mad about that. So I said, "All right, you're going to spend your birthday out here on tour with us." So I brought him out, then my wife came out, and then my 16-year-old flew in to get to see me sing Rooster with Jerry, and she has become a big Alice in Chains fan the
Oh,
last couple of
that's
years. So
cool.
she had her pop music moment, and dad's music was not cool for a long time. And then sometime right at the end of the COVID pandemic, she was like buying Nirvana shirts and listening to Alice in Chains and didn't want to tell dad because it wasn't cool. So the minute I heard about that on Father's Day a couple years ago, I took her to meet the Foo Fighters.
Oh,
And so
geez.
I just have this great memory of Pat Smear talking to her. And can you guys stop ruffling what you're ruffling? Thank you so much. And so she got to meet him, and then she got to come out and watch me sing Rooster with Jerry. And then Jerry backstage just started shooting the breeze with her. And I was just like, "Hey, your dad dreamed about this when he was a kid, and you're just getting to meet all these people like right out the gates. Welcome to grunge."
Oh my gosh, yeah, I got the grunge bite and then just kind of went full-fledged in. That's so cool. What a cool experience for her to be able to have. My son's 16 and he plays guitar and he's
Oh, awesome.
become yeah, and he's become a huge Pantera fan lately. And so he's learning all the dime solos. The kid shreds. He plays for hours a day. And so he's
Wow.
nailing it, which is absolutely nuts. But I'm sitting here watching him play. Yeah, same thing. Music, like he likes grunge, but like him playing that, I think he would probably fall asleep. Although he does admit that Jerry is a wizard on the guitar, which I appreciate. But yeah, it's cool seeing our kids appreciate the things that, we loved growing up. And then yeah, her getting that extra of being able to meet these people. So cool.
Yeah, she met Jerry, Dave Grohl. I mean, obviously Billy Gibbons. My kids just think he's their weird uncle with a long beard, and I'm like, okay, someday you'll appreciate that.
I mean, let's be fair. He's kind of the Rock's weird uncle for all of us, but they get to have that extra closeness with him.
Yeah, I always say Billy's the rock star's rock star because every rock star I've met, like even Jerry, Grohl, all of them are like, "Dude, you know Billy Gibbons?"
You're like, I own a bar with him.
Yeah, they're so enamored by that. So, and Billy will just blow text messages into these guys or call them on my behalf or give me their. Before I met Jerry, I got a cell phone number from Billy.
Oh, how
And
funny.
one of the guys in Jerry's camp is like, if any other person on planet Earth gave out Jerry's number, they would be murdered except Billy Gibbons.
He gets a pass. Oh gosh,
Yeah,
I
he gets
saw
a
them.
pass.
Oh,
He's
I
the
saw
rock
them.
godfather.
He really is. I saw them quite a few years ago. And they still are just incredible.
Did you see him in Idaho?
I did.
Was that in Boise at that old prison?
No, I saw them. I think it was at the amphitheater. I don't think it was at the
Okay.
prison.
Because
It was,
somebody told me recently they saw him at the old jail or old prison, and I was like, I was on that show.
oh, that's cool. I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't even know if I saw that came through here. How was that? quite a while ago?
Probably 3, 4 years ago.
Oh, so
Yeah, it was like
somewhat
an old jail
recently.
yard. It was a really cool venue. It was like a converted prison into, and I think it was in Boise.
I'll bet it was by the Botanical Gardens. I can't, the
Yeah.
penitentiary.
Yep. Yep. There you go.
How cool. Oh, I wish I would have saw that. So you were playing with them then?
Yeah, I've opened for them for the past decade. I think it's over 70 shows I've played with ZZ Top. So
Yes, that's so cool. And
I
but you
cut my
just,
go
sorry,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I cut my teeth with those guys, learned how to tour. Like that tour crew is like family to me, you know. So when I show up, I went to see them in Skinner just as a fan. And like backstage tour managers like, get over here, here's your pass. What do you need? I'm just like sick.
You're like, I just need to be here and enjoy all of this.
Yeah. So I
Um,
watch Skinner, ZZ Top.
oh geez, yeah, some of the Southern greats. And
Yep.
you're a Northern great, even though you do some Southern style stuff.
Oh, everyone always calls it Southern rock. I'm like, my guitar player's from British Columbia, my bass player's from France, and I'm from Northern Montana.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh, how crazy.
pretty pretty northern.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, how crazy. So back to Savage. I wanted to hurry and quick your brain. I don't know what was coming out there. But about Get You Some and Day by Day. I like the lyrics of both of those. They're totally different styles of songs. But some of those lyrics I thought were just so beautiful, and I know that this album's very personal and very has a lot of hard times that you've been through written
Mhm.
throughout here. So tell me about those two.
Yeah, the Day by Day, I'll start there. That was a song my buddy had the guitar lick, and we were in a cabin. We wrote both of those in the cabin, actually. We wrote both of those in a cabin on the Big Hole River with no cell service. It was like a really nice, just us and nature. And there's something about writing songs out in the middle of nowhere that's special to me. It just kind of feels like home because that's how I grew up. And so I remember I had the opening line to that song. My buddy's like, "You sure you want to say that? That's very personal." I was like, I'm kind of an open book, and that was kind of the premise of this album too. And a lot of my music is just like life the way I saw it, and it's kind of therapeutic for me to talk about that kind of stuff I went through. And then it's also therapeutic when that connects with a fan and they message me and tell me what happened to them. Even Devil, you know, I got so many messages about trauma or abuse or addiction or whatever someone's going through, the human condition, you know. That's like I said, I keep overusing the word therapeutic, but that's what it is. And so
Absolutely.
then you go to Get You Some, but also the music in Day by Day, please. The music in Day by Day reminds me musically of sobriety. Some days it's metal and very tragic and crazy, and then it just drops into this beautiful melodic, you know, line of like you find harmony and peace in it. But then other times it just gets crazy, and that's why I started screaming. And music, and if you go on YouTube, it's not a highly viewed video. I think that song will be a slow burn, like people will discover that. But
Mm,
some of the comments are like, man, this is helping me get through sobriety every day and blah blah blah. And so that's, I wanted the music to capture what that feels like and the lyrics to capture it. So I think that that song musically and lyrically is one of my favorites. And it's hard to play, honestly. I've played it a couple times, and writing it and recording it is one thing, but then singing it is like, oh God. So yeah.
yeah.
And then Get You Some was kind of the same stuff, right? You know, Poor White Trash from Single Eye, but I turned it into a little bit of arrogance in there as well.
Mhm.
You know, now I'm 4 kids deep buying 5-star dinners, and my wife's like, "You have never bought our 4 kids a 5-star dinner." I'm like, "Okay, it's foreshadowing," but but even, you know, just the chorus, it hits hard and everybody's head banging, but it's like we're every lost kid from every lost town, you know, just
Mhm.
talking about kids that grew up rough. And you know how it's clawing to the top, and 17 years till I finally hit. Haters gonna hate. Let them talk that shit, you
Mhm.
know. So yeah, so again, very honest with the lyrics, very personal, and two songs that are very similar subject wise, but very different musically. So
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what's really cool about this album is you do have diversity within there, even with going into a hard rock category, you still have a lot of
yeah,
diversity in there. So with first of all, with performing, are there ever times, nights, you know, because we're emotional creatures, and so sometimes emotions hit us harder in some days than they do in other days. Are there ever times that you have a hard time singing some of these songs, even emotionally live?
Um, just the day by day ones, and that's not a part of our like 30-minute set because we like to hit them with the upbeat rock stuff. But I tell my story every night, and that gets a huge reaction. Sometimes I feel like I'm a broken record. I just talk about growing up poor and no electricity in an outhouse, and I don't. Child abuse isn't something fun to talk about at a concert, so I leave that out. But I do talk about poverty and how it's a character building exercise, and people connect with that. The crowd goes nuts, and if they weren't sure about my music, the story gets them every time. So I kind of spend a lot, there's like, maybe we could squeeze another song in. I'm like, no, guys, give me, a couple minutes to tell my story on stage, even if it's a 25-minute set. People always go nuts and they get that connection. So I love the storytelling for, via songwriting, via stage banter, if you want to call it that. So yeah, these playing the rock stuff doesn't bother me. I mean, it's something I like, and I look at it as hopefully inspiring someone out there that's gone through something similar. So I kind of look at it as hope. So,
Yeah, I love that. I am actually a therapist outside of doing this,
oh
and
wow,
there is obviously a thing with secondary trauma of listening to other people's traumas, especially when you've experienced your own. Are there ever times where people come to you with their stories? And sorry, I know your kids are 8 here. I don't know if they can hear
no,
me.
you're good, you're good. They've
Okay.
heard it all.
But are there ever times of where someone else's story has like cut you to where you have to take a few days to kind of process through that?
Yeah, there's been a couple times people come to the merch table and the meet and greet, and they're very emotionally distraught. And I'm good at putting on the happy, jolly, crazy guy front and consoling them. But then that will eat away at you a little bit, you know. And some of that stuff. So yeah, that does weigh on you when they come out, but it also makes you realize you're not alone,
Yeah,
and anytime someone has trauma, I guarantee you there's someone out there that had it worse, or someone out there that you've never heard their trauma, maybe because they're not alive anymore, you just don't know. So
right.
yeah, so here I do hear those stories a lot. And recently I heard, from a buddy that Jelly Roll deals with that all the time, and he's a very emotional guy, and that
Mm,
it was weighing down on him big time, and they had to kind of separate him a little bit from that because he takes that all in
mhm.
and takes that burden on himself, and then gets very emotional and starts crying during shows if he hears about that stuff. So I've heard they've kind of tried to distance him from meet and greets before the show because it will mess him up, which is a reason people like that guy. He's authentic. He's real. That guy's like the real McCoy, and I have nothing but respect for that guy. So
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, same thing with you. You might not have the extreme emotional part of it, but I mean, same thing with you. People connect with you really well because you're honest about um life stuff, you know.
yeah, yeah,
So, do you ever struggle with writer's block? I mean, when you're talking about real stuff, I would assume probably not, but I know that it still can happen.
yeah. I have to get 5 songs turned in to wrap up my writing contract I have because I'm a staff writer for a publishing company.
Oh,
So last night and this morning, I had writer's block. I banged one out yesterday morning really fast, and I'm like, am I gonna always write about this? But I did write a traumatic song called "Wasn't in My Plans" about my real dad coming to save me, and it just falls out, right? Because I live that life, so it's easy to
right.
write about. But I'm like, I don't want to always be that guy, right? But if I'm turning in songs to turn in songs, I probably won't ever release that song. Who knows? But yeah, since then last night I tried to write, couldn't get anything good. And then this morning I tried to write again and couldn't get anything good. So yeah, writer's block is the real thing, especially when I'm under pressure.
Of course.
I have till August 30th to write 5 songs and get them turned in. I'm like, oh, God, I'm trying to find some creative juices to get it done. So
That's what I was just gonna ask. So what do you do when you're battling that? I mean, you said nature is something that kind of sometimes can pull some things out of you, but it's not always just easy just to get out into nature. So what are some inspirations or what are some things that you utilize to try to help with that?
usually it's shutting my phone off and taking all distractions out because I get a lot of people call and text, and that'll throw my mind off. I'm like, okay, you don't need to call. Like,
Mhm.
so I need to shut my phone off, put it away, go outside, just get all distractions. I'm a pretty ADD guy, and get distracted very easily unless I get on something, and then I can finish it really fast because I'm a pretty fast lyricist. So, but I just have to get an idea that's worthy to write. So later tonight, I'll probably go home or tomorrow morning and shut my phone off and go
Awesome.
work for an hour or so and see if I can get a couple of them.
Yeah, yeah. What are some things that you do for self-care that hopefully can help with that as well? I know self-care is not something that I ask that and I get so many like deer in the headlights looks of I don't even know what that would be. Music.
That's a great question because when I come home to Montana, I jump right back in my bar business, and that
Yeah.
is overwhelming. There's, I think 19 employees there that have on staff right now, and I show up and I've got a list of things and questions. So I have struggle with me time, but I'm also the guy that when the wheels stop turning, if I'm not moving forward, I sink, right?
Mm.
So I actually had an interesting talk with Jerry about that, about creating a chaotic life post, sobriety, right? Where you're filling the void, like alcohol shuts your brain off. And, and then it's something to do, take your mind off shit. And then all of a sudden, when you get sober, you can't, if you're not moving forward, your brain feels like you're moving backwards. So unfortunately, I'm a guy that's just filled my calendar to the point where I'm, realizing lately that I'm doing way too much. I'm saying yes to way too many things, and I need to draw lines and, and have me time. So
Yes. What would that look like if you win, not if, when you are able to do that? What are some things that you do or would like to do for that?
just get away from my phone and emails and text messages and not be everybody's lifeline. You
Good
know,
for you. Good for you.
yeah, I need to be my own lifeline every now and again.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, burnout is something that is hard to bounce back from. And so I'm glad that you're recognizing those signs now. And,
Yeah,
some guided meditations or, even 2 minutes of it can help with rebooting the brain. It's like turning your computer off and turning it back on.
exactly.
It might
Blow the
actually
video game out.
all right. Yeah, yeah. That's definitely a form of meditation. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I know you are busy and you got your family probably anxious and waiting for you. But thank you so much for taking this time. I've really appreciated talking with you. You're a fun person to talk to and pick the brain of.
Maybe I need a therapy session with you because it felt slightly therapeutic.
I do that all day every day, so it probably does for a lot of people.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
All right, thanks.
Bye bye.